Good morning, everyone. What I'm going to show you is a compilation of many studies from these preeminent sources on how to deal within the pandemic, and particularly from a company growth, sales manager, a salesperson point of view. And so what I'm going to show you is not just my opinion, it's really a compilation of all of these surveys. And so we're updating our presentation essentially every 2 weeks. And we put this together starting in April, really to support our current customers. And now it's become popular for other groups to see as well. So here's the last 5 recessions before the one we're currently in. And I hate to admit this, but I've been an adult in all of these. And I've been a CEO in one company or the other in the last 3. And so there's always lessons learned from recessions, and they're actually pretty consistent. An example would be, it's a great time to hire new salespeople. And the reason is normal times, the really great ones are happy where they are. They're doing fine. So it's very difficult to get them away. But now so many of them have been furloughed, not because of their problem, because of the company or the industry. Another thing we always learn is to rapidly innovate. Another one is take a look at everything we're spending money on, get rid of the fat. It's a great time to review everything we're spending money on and get rid of the fat. Another great thing to do during recessions is start reevaluating everything, especially our processes. It's a great time to strengthen our processes. So I think we all know that this recession is unique compared to the other ones because of this stay-at-home requirement. So let's see what the buyers are telling us. So when you look at the data on this slide, you can see the buyers are starting to like this whole shift to digitization. And therefore, our digital presence becomes more and more important for us personally, as well as our companies. Let's see how some of the buyer behavior is changing. What's always been that cold calls and cold emails didn't work so well. The probability was low. Now it's even lower. And since we can't have a face-to-face meeting pretty much anymore, and buyers want that social interaction, and they can't get it, then the second best thing for a buyer to trust a new company or a new salesperson would be a strong referral. So the importance of referrals is enhanced now in the COVID crisis. And it's always been that the first salesperson to show up had a leg up. Now that's more important than ever. And salespeople have always been pretty good at selling products and services, but now, since so much is different, so many challenges are different for the buyers and their customers, then buyers want these higher level discussions, real business discussions. And some of their behavior that's shifting is the use of mobile apps. The self-service idea by buyers is now up 100%. So if your company should have a mobile app and you don't, then it's time to start thinking about that. Next, buyers want to do their own demo. Or they'd rather have a choice between a demo with a salesperson or an automated demo. And since they're used to some of these new technologies, augmented reality, virtual reality, in their personal life, they now expect some of this in your automated business demo as well. And then buyers are learning to do everything, like negotiate everything. And since the start of the crisis in mid-March, there's been 50 million new users on LinkedIn, many of them buyers. So again, digital presence, so much more important. So now let's see what buyers value from salespeople. There's always been 3 things, 2 obvious and 1 kind of subtle. First, buyers want salespeople to be honest, no BS, tell the truth. 2, they want salespeople with a strong integrity. In other words, they're going to do what they say they're going to do the way it should be done and get it done on time. If they can't get it done the way it should be done or on time, they're going to let the buyer know and take responsibility for the mess they may have created for the buyer and tell the buyer when they're going to get it done. So those have always been 2 strong ways that a buyer will trust a salesperson. There's always been a 3rd way, and that is sellers have to have strong product knowledge. So if we're a buyer and we're dealing with a salesperson, they really don't know what they're talking about or can't peel back the onion one more level, then they're out. So those have been the three ways it's always taken for buyers to trust salespeople. Now there's a whole new element, a fourth level of trust. So if your sales rep is on the phone with a VC call, say a Zoom call with a buyer, and they fumble around, they're at the wrong time zone, they can't make the thing work, they can't pull up a document, they can't change a document like a proposal in real time, they don't have the technology to get the buyer to sign right there if appropriate, then they're out. So now this whole fourth level of trusting a salesperson includes technical proficiency. And of course, they want this complete understanding of your business. And since so many problems now are different for the buyer and their company or the buyer's customers, in many cases, we have to be creative with new solutions. So buyers really value the problem-solving, creative types of salespeople. And since we're all human, we're all social animals, we're humans. We all, most of us anyway, like the personal interaction, and we can't have it now. Then being able to know how to build rapport on a VC platform, ultra important. Now, it won't last as long as it does in person, typically, for obvious reasons, but still important. And most salespeople don't think you can do it. So now let's see where our salespeople should be focused in any recession, really. So number one, always focus on the current customers. And the reason is in many cases, we may have customers, we're doing great for them, they love us, everything's smooth, everything's an automatic. But in a recession, things may blow up. And we don't want them leaving us and going to somebody else. So always focus on the current customers, give them more and more attention. Second, focus on the prospects you had in your pipeline before the recession started, because in many cases you've had a meeting, you understand each other, you've got at least a starting of a relationship. And third, focus on the companies that have been doing well. And as most of us realize now, it's varied somewhat as we've gone through the last 6 months, but about half the companies are doing well, growing, life's good. And then half, of course, are in the tank, and some really in the tank. Then fourth, focus on that fourth area, the companies that have not been doing well, but are now starting to recover. Maybe they have a Main Street loan and now they've got money to spend. So those are the four priority areas in any recession. And so for the first two, there are 6 areas we want to emphasize. So with our current customers and prospects, we've all heard this. In a recession, the gratitude, empathy, authenticity is important. This one's different. They're still important because we're so beaten down now with this pandemic. The gratitude, empathy, and authenticity is still important. And then buyers, you've probably seen this, want discounts. They want free stuff. They want more and more. They want extra. Just natural. It happens in any recession. So I'll give you one quick example. Roger Staubach, Hall of Fame Dallas quarterback, and then a very successful real estate developer in Dallas. He's only had one mantra in his company, and he just instills it in everybody. Here's his mantra. There are no traffic jams on the extra mile. No traffic jams on the extra mile, meaning if you go extra for your current customers, your associates, your partner, and your prospects, you totally separate yourself from everybody else. So it's a great mantra. Now let's see what actions we can take with these customers and prospects. So give them this increased interaction that they want because they're at home too. So they want more interaction. And you can see from the second bullet, it's like, yikes. To get the same results in this pandemic, salespeople have to do more. Send more emails, make more cold calls, and propose more video meetings, video conferencing meetings. And again, we have to elevate our discussions for the customers, especially the ones that aren't doing well. So in other words, if the buyer's hair's on fire, it's no time to be trying to sell them conditioner and shampoo. Now, the third area to focus is the companies that have been doing well. This list changes. We update it every couple of weeks. And so we really want to focus on these. And the studies show from previous recessions, if you can get new clients in a recession, you're the most likely companies to succeed after the recession is over. And you can see under that camera lens, there's a website you can go to see this list. Or frankly, you can just Google which companies are doing well during the pandemic, and you'll get a similar list. And when you're selling to these companies doing well, recognize you want to get a new sale with them. And so you have to offer a discount or something free, then do it, because there's 3 wins. And that is the prospect wins. They get what they need. We win. We get a new customer. And of course, in the long term, we win again because now we have a new lifetime customer. So do whatever it takes to get new customers in this recession. Again, all buyers have their CEO hat on. Everybody wants a deal. And it used to be if we just could show the clear value of what we're selling, usually that was pretty good enough, but it doesn't necessarily cut it anymore. So the buyers really want these hard ROI customer stories that have always been good, but now they're increased in importance. And of course, here comes that word again, that phrase, digital presence. So now the nice thing about this, focusing on the third, is deals are moving forward. They have money, they're growing, they need help. And so again, the B2B salespeople who approach these companies and get new deals are the most likely coming out of the recession to do well. And again, because you remember those percentages on how much more we prospecting salespeople have to do, we got to have a tighter prospecting process. Maybe using some new key technology tools to help us be more efficient for prospecting. And then finally, we need to focus on the deals we can win. So it's all back to money flows where focus goes. That was my first sales manager's advice to me. He said, you're doing well, this thing's going good, great, except you're not focused. Quit sending a shotgun of, a few touches to a whole bunch of prospects. Pick a few top prospects and really focus on them. Nowhere is it more important now because the probability of getting these customers is lower than normal. So we got to really focus on these new ones. Now, when you're prospecting in these companies that are doing well, again, referral, ultra important. Now, if you ask most salespeople what's the best source of referrals, they'll all pretty much all say it's our current customers. It's not. The best source of referrals is your vendors, suppliers, subcontractors, consultants, advisors. And the reason is, of course, you're paying them. So if you ask them for referrals, are they just going to blow you off? They're not. They want to keep your business or grow their business with you. So they're going to give you a referral. So don't just stop there. Do some questioning to see if it really is a marketing or sales qualified referral. And then if it is worth pursuing, get them involved. Ask them to set up a VC meeting, a Zoom meeting, for example, with you, them, and the prospect. And again, more thorough research is required now approaching these new buyers than ever before. And whereas it used to be marketing was in charge of the thought leadership and the nurturing campaigns, now the buyers expect that from us salespeople as well. So let's see what a tighter prospecting process might look like. So day one, you meet a new prospect. It's either through a referral, maybe it's a virtual trade show. I'm going to be one during this weekend. Maybe it's a Zoom call. And so number one, first, look at their profile on LinkedIn. And Judy's going to cover a bunch of this next time. So especially in Sales Navigator, look at their profile. Then look at their profile every other day for about a week. When they look back, then ask them to connect, and the connection rate's in the high 90%. The elite prospectors, the hunters, call that the LinkedIn dance, so to speak. So look at their profile right away, then send them an email, and the email can't be about how great your stuff is. It's got to be about them. And again, the great salespeople are the great researchers, the great preparers. Give them a call. Be totally ready to leave a voicemail if you don't get them. And it needs to be a brilliant voicemail, not any old voicemail, totally oriented to what their needs are. Then by day 8, if they haven't come back, ask them to connect. And once they do connect, then start following them on the social media channels they're involved in. Then call them again. Then continue this process over 30 days. So we're mixing it up, the sequence, the communication channels. We're keeping the opportunity warm. We're increasing the buyer's mind share. And then, if, as we used to say in the submarine force, if they're radio silent after about 30 days, then you got to shift them over to marketing. This was always the standard answer. But now, again, the buyers expect salespeople to follow up as well, again, with valuable information, a thought piece, a recent study from McKinsey, a blog article, something the buyer is going to be interested in. Now, let's see how to follow up. Let's see how to follow up. So prior to the agreed call, figure out their personality style with Crystal Knows. If you've never used it, it's a website. You go to the website, you put in the buyer's name, the buyer's company, so you know you've got the right person. And then smart software goes all throughout cyberspace doing word associations, their name and any other words connected to them, anywhere in social media, everywhere. And it uses smart software, predictive analytics, advanced AI techniques, machine learning techniques. If they've taken an assessment like the DISC assessment, that gets factored in. And then in 1/10 of a second, it comes back and tells you which of the 4 personality styles they are. The driver, thinker, communicator, supporter. How to write an email to them that is targeted at their personality style. How to leave a brilliant voicemail for them targeted to their personality style. How to deal with them in person or on a Zoom call. What you should and shouldn't say. And then second, of course, research their background on Sales Navigator. Provide a rationale for the call, and here's a couple of ideas. So in other words, give them a reason to have this VC call with you. And again, it can't be, we have such great stuff, you ought to hear about it, which is what most average salespeople do. And then build rapport. So to drop back for a second, Harvard University has the biggest research department on sales. They've had it for over 40 years. They publish a bunch of interesting data. I'm looking at it for 25 years. And they claim there's about 25 million salespeople in the US right now. About half are hunters, bring in new business. Half are account managers who also have the responsibility, not just manage the account, but upsell, cross-sell, renew contracts. So Harvard claims there's about 25 million of them. And there's a couple of Pareto principles associated with them. 5 million, top 20% are elite. 20 million, the bottom 80% are not. And their turnover rate every year is about 1/3 per year. The second Pareto principle is 20% of the salespeople, the top ones, bring in 80% of the new business, either totally new or up and cross-selling. So if you ask these elite salespeople, when you're going to meet with a new buyer, what's your sales process? They'll all say the same thing. They'll say it's a simple 3-step process. I want to build rapport. And the reason I want to build rapport, of course, is to get them comfortable with me, to like me, to feel comfortable with me, and share everything that's really going on. Second, I want to do a needs analysis, find out what's really going on, the problem behind the problem, everything. And then third, if I've got a solution, I'll offer a solution that fits. And if I don't have one, I'll go find one for them. So that's how the elite salespeople think. So rapport building now in COVID is still as important as it ever was. It may be more important because people are really looking for this human interaction. So now, if you're going to build rapport now, we have to go back to those three words that people really pick up on: the gratitude, the empathy, and the authenticity. So you can start with something like these statements. These are known to work now from McKinsey and LinkedIn. And then we're going to listen. So we're going to do a needs analysis next. And since so many of the customers' problems and their customers' problems are different, we can't go into the sales meeting thinking, here's what I'm going to sell them. Like, you can't be like Ken and say, I'm going to sell them a new website. You just can't have that. Or me, sell them online training. You just can't have that thought process when you're going in. So again, you can see, go in with no agenda, because so much stuff could be new. And so you can start with a question like this. It's a great question now within COVID, because in many cases they're new, and that's okay, because solutions will exist for whatever the challenges they've got. And for us in sales, it's a great time to find creative solutions for buyers. And you can also ask questions when you're in the needs analysis with your expertise, what you've learned from your research, or what you've learned from your referral partner. Then, if you've been to our sales trainings like Ken and many others, use the 3 ways to be the perfect listener to really understand their needs. And those 3 techniques to be the perfect listener are: number 1, totally focus 100% on their need, not what you're thinking about. So totally focus on them, active listening. 2, ask permission to take notes and take notes. And 3, summarize and feed it back. So a little nationwide data: 90% of the salespeople take notes. Almost everybody gets that now. Only 10% ask permission, and miss 6 great reasons from these latest neuroscience studies on why you should ask permission to take notes. Only 2% summarize and feed it back, and miss 8 great reasons from these latest neuroscience studies on why it's a great technique. And then in the end, always ask this question: is there anything else I need to know? The studies from Carnegie claim if you ask this, so if you're out of questions or can't think of what to ask next, always ask this question: is there anything else I need to know? In the high 90 percentile, you'll get more information. So now let's see what it takes to close the deal. So we've built rapport, we've done a needs analysis, we know what they need, we've offered a solution, and now we want to close the deal. So most of us know how to close deals, but it is a little bit different now during COVID in some cases. So I'm going to show you 10 ways that are now working. So not my opinions, just they're now working based on these studies, and Harvard's at the forefront of this. And not all 10 will apply to all of us, but could be 2 or 3 that apply to you. So first is bartering, which is kind of the way business was done 100 plus 200 years ago. Well, it doesn't mean you can't do it now. So we are now currently bartering our online sales training seats for services from 3 of our vendors. Why not? No money changes hands. Another thing that is working, and this is principally because buyers just can't, because of the uncertainty, they just can't see the cash flow status moving out like you normally can. And so if you get a new customer, a prospect, and you're about to close them, normally if they were a good credit, we would offer them 30 days. That isn't working so well. So now 90 days in some cases will work, because they can see out a little bit, have more confidence that they'll be able to handle it. Many technology sales, you have to pay up front for the year. Now to close those types of deals, you can offer monthly payments, and then that really eases the cash flow requirements for the customer. Another one is these discounts. Everybody wants a discount. And what we want to make sure is they don't think it's a permanent discount. So it's good to label your discount. One-time discount, a COVID discount, or a discount through Thanksgiving, or those types of statements. And then the salespeople selling the subscription model, it's like, wow, they would give us maybe 15 days, a 30-day free trial. Now to close those deals, they're having to offer 6 months free if the buyer signs a 3-year contract and a first year free if they sign a 5-year contract. That's what it's taking to close those deals. Another kind of fun one is financing by your company. So if you have a great prospect, it all looks good, and they're ready to buy, except they just don't have the cash flow, then if you have the strong enough balance sheet, offer to finance it for them. Or if you don't have that amount of capital, then, and you have a friendly bank, hook them up with your friendly bank. Maybe they'll finance it. And if you get the interest rates now are so low based on the time value of money, it's almost free money, pretty close. Now, if you offer, once you're selling a product or service, you offer something free to go along with it, a free online, for us, a free online training seat, or a couple of free aptitude assessments, then sometimes that will make it go. Kim, one of our salespeople, closed a 100 seat deal, 100 APQ assessment deal last night. The buyer wanted 50, but our offer was if you buy 100, you get 2 free seats and 5 extra assessments. So we bought 100. So always offer something to go along with it. Sometimes that'll close the deal. And now there's all this new great software out there, cybersecurity software. There's collaboration software, e-commerce software. And in many cases, salespeople will give a 30-day free trial. Now to close those, they're offering a 90-day free trial. Another way to go is to offer more than one option. So if you typically have one thing to sell, and if you go back to our sales training, the neuroscience part of it, one of the cognitive biases for all of us is called the single option aversion bias. Meaning if you only offer one option to the buyer, now this is studies over all 33 industries, 10% will take it. And the reason it's so low is the buyer doesn't have anything to compare it to. If you offer 2 similar options, studies over all 33 industries, 64% will pick one. A difference in closing rate of 640%, which is amazing. So let's say you're selling just one big item, product, service, and all together. Then why not think about skinning it down somehow, less fidelity, less robustness, less features, maybe at a lower price point, and then you can offer that to the buyer as another option to what you normally sell. And then last is unbundling products and services that are normally sold together. So as an example, these are 10 new ways now that sellers are closing deals during this crisis. Again, not all 10 will apply to you, but actually maybe 2 or 3 might. Now you'll notice down there in the bottom left, I've got in red, since all the buyers want a deal now are negotiating, we sales reps need to know how to negotiate as well. And to give you a quick example, we've been doing sales training for 23 years, and about 10 years ago, we started sales negotiation training just because the customers wanted it. So everybody in our company knows how to negotiate. We're all negotiating with each other all the time. And so Amy, my assistant, 3 months ago said, you know, cash is tight. I got options on what I can spend money and what I can't. So I've outsourced a lot of those decisions to her, and she's great at it. And she said, I really want to negotiate with our event management company. And it's a large company, remote from DC, but a nice company. They do a great job. And so when we have a sales training day, online or in person, we don't have to do anything, show up and do the training because they've handled everything. Handled the registrations, the give backs, essentially everything. It's a great service. And we've been paying $12K a year up front for a bulk 1,000 seats. So Amy got her act together. She told me what she was going to do. I agree with all of it. So first of all, the sales rep is nipping at her heels to renew 2 months before the contract renewal. And she's putting them off and putting them off because time is on her side. Second, she goes out and gets a demo from 2 other event management companies. So now she's got competitive information up to date. And then what happens normally is it's $12K for the year, paid up front. You get 1,000 seats, you get 1 user. We've always had to buy 4 extra users. If you don't use all of them, they don't roll over to the next year. And if you need more at the end of the year, they're much higher price than the bulk price. So Amy waits till the 6th day before contract renews to talk to the sales rep. And now she's going back and forth 2 or 3 times a day, negotiating with him. She still didn't get what she wanted by the time the contract was up. So she got a 3-day extension. And here's what she finally got. $7K instead of $12K. Instead of an annual payment up front, monthly payments. For the monthly payments, instead of 30 days or due on the 1st of the month, 60 days to pay each monthly payment. 5 free seats instead of 1, or 5 free users instead of 1 free user. Up to 200 seats will be able to be rolled over to the next year if they're not used. And if we need more seats up to 200 at the end of the year, they'll be at the same bulk price. So Amy, admin assistant, all on her own essentially, negotiated all of this. So now here's my question for all y'all. When you do sales negotiation training, there are the tactics used by buyers and the counter tactics that sales trainers can use. So was her sales rep a pretty good negotiator? No, he actually had to go to the director of sales and the global VP of sales to get what Amy wanted. All right, so now we built rapport, we've done a needs analysis, we've offered a solution, and now we've offered a solution and the buyer says, great, send me a proposal. Here is the absolute worst thing a salesperson can do. And that is email a proposal. And the reason is the buyer's under no obligation to do anything. They can put it on the folder. They can look at it later. They can give it to 2 other people to look at. They can look at it quickly and say, there's a couple of things that aren't quite right here. So instead of emailing the proposal and hope to hear back, some of you may have read that old sales book, Hope is Not a Strategy. Propose another meeting with an email, something like this. And then when you get the buyer on the VC call as a sales rep, then you pretty much need to know how to pull up a document. You need to know how to change the document in real time. You need to know how to get the buyer to sign the proposal in real time. Or again, remember, you're out. All right, we're done with the salespeople. A couple slides on sales managers and we'll be complete. So a big study from McKinsey and Gartner. Here's what's bugging salespeople that are remote now when they didn't used to be totally remote. So if we're the sales manager, or it's a small company, we're the CEO and the sales manager, essentially, then we have to pay attention to this. So to give you a quick example, one of our salespeople, husband has been a salesperson, another company. He lost his job, not because of him, because of the situation. And then he got a sales manager's job a couple of months ago. And he's managing 8 reps, Mid-Atlantic region, New York to Atlanta, Chicago to DC. And so having dinner, and he says, I gotta call each one of these reps and have about a 15-minute introductory call. Now, she's had our sales training, so here's what she said. She said, no. 15 minutes will not cut it. You need at least an hour. And he said, how come? So she showed him this. He said, okay, I'll set aside a half hour. So after he had talked to all 8, the shortest call was 2 hours. So in other words, if we're managing people that are remote, we got to recognize they've got these problems and we're in charge of helping them, not just improve their professional performance, but in many cases, as we all know, there's so much interlocking now between the personal and the professional. We have to help them with their personal situation as well. companies are now, sales managers now having more frequent sales meetings. We've gone from one every 2 weeks to one once a week. We have to train our salespeople on their digital engagement. So it'd be a great time to send your salespeople on the next webinar with Judy Sram. That's what she's all about. And of course, we have to train our salespeople on how to use these VC platforms. And as some of you know, I'm sure know, it's not easy. I've had to give presentations on Zoom, on GoToWebinar, GoToMeeting, Teams, Google, you name it. And they're not all the same. Actually, I think Zoom is the easiest. Some other considerations for sales managers is it's time to just throw out the status quo. Look at everything. As I mentioned, what we've all learned from previous recessions. So reevaluate your vendors. We've changed to. Evaluate your partners. We've gotten rid of 2 and got a new strategic one. Reevaluate your salespeople. Are they on the right seat on the bus? And the supporting team if you've got them. Reevaluate your customers. How you're using technology and essentially all of your processes. So it's a great time to reevaluate all of this and tighten it up and improve it. And then next, think about the digital strategy for your company. So it's a great article in the Harvard Business Review, the May-June edition. And the name of the article was, "What is your digital strategy?" And it's a great article. It's really a page turner because it has great data in it and great examples of companies who tried to get it and blew it, like GE, and companies who were beaten down by Amazon and Walmart, like Best Buy, and kind of really got one and pulled out. And it also claims that coming into COVID, 1/3 of the companies selling B2B or B2G government had a digital strategy. Coming out of COVID, 2/3 will need it. And in many cases, we're going to need vendors to help us. So for example, if you want an e-commerce site 5 years ago, you're talking about a lot of effort, customization, money, time. But now with some of this great new software like Shopify, boom, you can get it in a week or 2, pretty much. And then invest in rapid innovation. So quickly develop new offerings, get them out in the marketplace, test them, get feedback, improve them, repeat. And you can see from the last sub-bullet on this slide, I'll give you the data behind this. This is from a big global McKinsey study. In a recession, if companies came up innovative with new products and services, their growth rate from then until the next recession started was 16% per year. The ones that did not innovate, no new products or services, their growth rate until the next recession was 4%. So innovation, new products and services, ultra important. Quick example for us. We do EOS. We had a meeting in December where you do a dinner and a strategic planning session, all good. And we scheduled our next meeting on the Friday night in March before the shutdown. And so we're there at a downtown restaurant in DC and yucking it up, having fun and doing some strategic planning. And then the 3 of us stayed behind and we said, you know, it's pretty obvious what's going to happen. We're going to shut it. The country's going to shut down on Monday. There's not going to be much more in-person training like Ken went to. It's going to be all online. So we have to improve our online training. So the 3 of us worked all day Saturday and Sunday. Sunday afternoon, gave our new product to the technology platform partner and to our graphics team, and on Monday rolled it out. So that's what I mean by rapid innovation. All right, one thing about our online sales training, it's award-winning. It's a 2-hour webinar to start. You can see what's covered in number 1. Then the salespeople go online for 2 weeks, self-paced learning. And then there's the final webinar where they learn how to be an expert on Zoom, etc. And let's see. Here are some extras for any of you who are interested. So again, remember, you got to give extras, discounts, give stuff away for free. So if you'd like a copy of today's PowerPoint, I'm happy to send it to you. If you want a demo of the online training, happy to arrange that for you, because many people are skeptical of online training. I know I was, but not anymore. If you don't use an assessment that's tuned to help you hire new salespeople, you can get a demo of that. You can have a free analysis of your digital presence if you'd like it. And that's something that Ken is really good at. We've always had a sales manager's toolbox, but now it's got 5 new tools in it. And if you'd like an electronic copy of our latest book, The Neuroscience of Selling, it's a quick read, it's an hour read. So any of this you would like, as soon as we're done, I'll send this form to Ken and Kim, and then they'll pass it on to you. Anything you would like, just send it back to me, and Amy will get you the information. So let's open it up to Q&A, Ken.
All right, thank you, John. That was really great. So we'll be putting both this form in the PowerPoint. The PowerPoint itself will be online on Monday or Tuesday, and everyone will be emailed notifying you that, as well as a video for the presentation. Gigi has a question. How do these apply when you're selling a service and your costs are only people's wages? So essentially, I think the issue is, you know, unlike a software product, you have real costs when you're selling services, and it depends on, you know, hourly wages and such like that. And so it's harder to do the first 6 months free, that kind of thing.
You mean those 10 ways to close a new deal?
Well, Gigi, do you want to let us know what you mean? And I'm trying to find you and unmute you. Let's see, where did she go? Gigi, where are you? Put a question in, and I don't see her.
I can see her.
I'm right here.
Okay, yeah. There you are. I'm sorry, you're right at the top. Sorry, there you are.
Hi, Gigi.
Hello. So our business is all service-based. We provide a service. We're a concierge service. We're sitting at somebody's desk. We're virtual. We can't offer 6 months free because we're paying people's wages. So how do you encourage people to buy sooner? I mean, we're not going to lower our wages for our staff. We have to pay them.
Right.
So, you know, how do you do that?
Well, what you have to typically do is offer, like Roger Staubach, free extras. So free extra time, free tools. So typically your people who are kind of, don't they normally sit in the customer's office pretty much?
Well, it depends. We're either in a lobby or we're at a desk, and you can't offer free time because if people are working additional hours, then you got to pay them overtime. So then you're paying them more money than you were paying them initially.
Right, right. Yeah, so it's you just have to figure out what you can do extra for them. And again, it could be a new tool. It could be like I just gave you a presentation, right? That's extra. I didn't have to do it, but I'm doing it for all of our current customers. So why not do it for all my friends in the DC area as well? So that would be one thing to think about. What can we actually provide to our customers, like something like this, a tool, an insight, a presentation that will keep them sticking with us because we're getting this extra value. So this isn't particularly easy to do, but it takes some thought and brainstorming to figure it out. But yeah, when you're doing butts and seats like you're doing, and your overhead, I'm assuming, is very low. Is that right? Gigi?
Yeah.
Yeah, your overhead is probably really low. So it's hard to squeeze money out of overhead, right?
Right.
Yeah. So it's really about
you can't discount what you're paying people.
No, I totally agree. And so it's really about the executive team figuring out what is it that we can do for our customers that we're not doing.
Okay, anyone else having questions? You can raise hands. I think you can unmute yourself right now or put it in the chat. Any other questions for John?
So Gigi, happy to set up a call if you'd like. We can chat some more about it.
Here's your chance, guys. Ask any questions, closing sales at all, closing deals. They want to give an example of a problem you're having in closing?
I have a question.
Okay, great.
Hi, I'm Jim Reese. John, great presentation. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
My question is, do you work with attorneys? And if so, what would be your 3 top sales tips for attorneys?
So we do work with attorneys, and if you think about it, are attorneys salespeople? Well, then in most cases, of course they are. They have to get new clients, most of them. They're selling to the judge in some cases. They're selling to the prosecutor to make a deal in some cases. They're selling to the jury. And so the first thing we do for any law firm is give all the attorneys the sales aptitude assessment. And then what you'll typically find is a few will be high, a few will be moderate, and a few will be low. And so the ones that are low, it just means they don't particularly like to do BD. And so therefore, don't make them do it. And for the ones that are high, perhaps carve out 10 or 20% of their billable hours for BD. So in other words, they know they have time to do BD and they're going to get paid for it as well. That's one strategy that works with most any professional services firm, whether it's accountants or lawyers or engineering firms. See who's got the right talent to do it, and then give them some time to do it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else with questions?
Hey, John, this is Dennis Lucy. I'm with Acoma, which is
Hi.
a contractor out by Dulles. By chance, did you read the Washington Post about 2 Sundays ago? The business section had a 2-page article about this older guy that sold cars up in Erie, Pennsylvania. And
I did read it, but okay.
It's a great story.
Yeah.
He sold cars the old way. The customer prospects would go into the dealership and he'd show them the car, and he sold about 50. He was good. He sold about 50 cars a month. Well, hell, with COVID now, nobody's coming into the showroom, and he went to his Rolodex and he got on Zoom, and he went live on Zoom to all his old prospects. And he would even kick the tire. He would show the prospects kicking the tires in the showroom. He'd drive the car to their home even and show it to them. He's now selling 100 cars a month, double his sales based on that alone. So I thought it was just a great example of all the opportunities we have now with this tough situation we're in.
No, totally agree. And so my wife just leased a Lexus, the RX 350, I think it is, that she likes. And so we never did anything. I never talked to anybody, just totally negotiated for about a month online. And then when it was time, they drove the car over from Annapolis to DC and signed the paperwork, and the guy left and we had the car. So yeah, car sales are still moving, but no, that's a great story. I hadn't seen it, but it's a great example of how to adapt in a COVID type of crisis. Love it.
Hey, thanks, John. Thank you, Dennis. And Jim, Gigi, anyone else want to join the ranks of great questions, great questioners?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Ken, I had a question. So, John, this is Mark Sickle, Fitness Sprout. That was a very good talk you gave.
Thank you.
I'm kind of a little different than probably most of your audience. We have a kind of very specialized rehabilitation facility. So we do occupational therapy, physical therapy, and motor work, for children that have special disabilities, and as well as adults, strokes, Parkinson's, and all that. So my question is to you, your type, is there a way that some of your strategies could work for us? Obviously, we're having to retool everything. So,
well, one of the great ways, to get new customers in your business is referrals. And so the typical people you would get referrals from would be hospitals, doctors, perhaps other practitioners like PAs. And so then it becomes all about relationships with them, building that relationship so they'll refer you. Am I right? Isn't that a great source typically?
yeah.
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 And so now you got to do that via Zoom or some other platform. But I know they're still doing it.
Right. And so
I have one of my daughters has a special needs, on the autistic spectrum, and then another one has CVS, and so those occupational people are still coming to the house, and providing the service they provide.
All right. Well, that's great. Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, anyone else? Let's see, we're nearly out of time. Last question? Last question? Okay. Well, I want to thank you all for joining us. John, will you go to the last slide so we can remind everyone what we have coming up next? Can everyone see that now?
Yep, we see it.
October 23rd, tips and tricks for using LinkedIn Sales Navigator for sales prospecting. So please keep an eye out for an email to register for that. And we'll see you then, hopefully. John, could you hang on for a little bit? I have something to bring up to you. Okay,
Yeah.
Thank you.
By the way, I highly recommend this one from Judy. She's one of our partners and just does a great job for us.
Yeah. Okay, well, thank you, everyone. Have a good weekend.
Thank you. Have a great weekend also. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. You guys have a great weekend.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.